All right. Now that we agreed on the story and the names, this was a story about Loki. Loki was a kid who was 11 years old, and he lived in a house on a normal street on a normal neighborhood. But Loki had a very uh, good friend. His name was Miles. He was about his same age. They met at school, and turns out that Miles lived in the house right next to him. And so one day they thought of a great plan. What if they both went uh, to the basement of the house, removed a couple of floorboards, and started digging and made a tunnel? Loki would dig a tunnel that would take him all the way to Miles' home, and Miles will dig a tunnel that would take him to Loki's home, and they would meet in the middle. And they thought that that was a great idea because that way at night, when their parents were asleep, they could get together and play board games and things like that. And so they started their plan in secret. They didn't tell anybody. They both lifted a couple floorboards and started digging and throwing the dirt in the trash or outside in the yard through the window. The thing is, oddly, that nobody noticed that. And it went on for quite a long time. In fact, it wasn't as easy as they expected. They thought they would be done in a day or two, but after weeks, they were barely making any progress. Never mind that, they kept going and going and going. They first dug down at a 45-degree angle and put a ladder on the floor so that they could get in and out. And then they started when they had the same brand of ladders so they could match the depth. And when they reached the length of the ladder, they knew that they both had dug at the same depth under the houses. They both started digging in opposite directions to meet in the middle. Now, that may sound easy enough, but it isn't really that easy because you have to do a lot of math and a lot of measuring to match in the middle, which they had not done. And so, instead of perfectly aligning one tunnel with the other, they were a little bit misaligned and they were never going to meet in the middle. But what did happen was that Loki, as he was digging, suddenly came across another tunnel and he thought that this was Vane's tunnel. And so he was like, "Whoa, I'm so happy I finally found Vane's tunnel."
No, it was not Vane, it was Miles.
Oh, sorry, Miles. "I'm so happy I found Miles' tunnel. Yay. I'm going to go surprise him and pay him a visit." But he thought it was strange because Miles' tunnel didn't really follow the same direction to Miles' home. And he thought, that's weird. Maybe Miles' tunnel was not um, done straight. Oh, well, when I meet him, I'm going to ask him about it. And so, with a tiny little flashlight, he went inside of that tunnel. And it looked like the tunnel was very old. It, there were rocks and things in there that he thought this is strange. How is it that Miles created this tunnel and the tunnel looks like it's super old? It doesn't look like somebody's been here in a long time. But he shrugged that off and kept going through the tunnel and walking and sometimes crawling because the tunnel would get too small. And suddenly, instead of arriving to Miles' home, he arrived in a chamber that had weird devices. And with his little light, it looked like ancient things, very ancient things. He started looking around, and at the end of this chamber, there was another tunnel. And so he decided not to touch anything and keep going through the other tunnel. And on the other tunnel, he discovered what looked like containers, perhaps with food or oil or something. Very old, too. And at the end of the tunnel, there was another tunnel. At this point, um, which was the name of the kid that was there?
Loki.
Loki was a little scared. He realized that this was definitely not the tunnel to Miles' home. and he decided to come back. But he thought, nobody's gonna believe me. So he thought of a great plan. What if I grab one of these devices, one of this things that were on the first chamber, and bring it out myself, and I can show it to Miles. That way he will believe me because this is so incredible. And so he looked around, and there was something that looked a little bit like a ball, but it had like holes and weird things on it. And he thought, this is the strangest device of them all. I will grab this one. He took 2 steps and noticed that this ball started to like vibrate a little bit. But he thought, oh no, that must be my imagination. And so he grabbed it with both hands at the same time. And as soon as he grabbed it, he felt like a shock of electricity. And suddenly, poof, he was transported to a meadow full of flowers, a light breeze, the day was in front of him. This was crazy, and he got so scared that he dropped the ball. And as soon as he dropped the ball, bonk, the ball hit the floor and he was back in the cavern. He was so scared he took off running. And the next day at school, he told his friend Miles about what he found. And Miles was like, whoa, that's so cool. I want to see it. Yes, but we cannot let any grown-up see it, said Loki. Because if they see it, they're going to find out we made a hole under our houses and we'll be in trouble. So how do we get you to my house when my parents are not here? He said, I think the only solution is for me to continue digging the tunnel until I can reach your tunnel. But they didn't know that that was never going to happen because his tunnel was aiming in the wrong direction. Not by too much, but enough that they would never meet. And so Loki said, all right, keep doing that. And meanwhile, I'm going to explore this thing a little more. And if I can, I'll bring it to you. That way you can see it. Okay, so we have 2 plans. On the one hand, I'm going to dig more and see if I can finish my tunnel to connect it with yours. And at the same time, you're going to go back there and grab that thing and try to bring it out if it's not too scary. And that way you can show it to me because I'm really intrigued. All right, so that night, they both pretended to go to bed. And when their parents were asleep, Miles went to dig and Loki went back to explore. This time, he brought a backpack to put that thing on, and he approached it very carefully. And again, as soon as he was within a couple of steps of it, he noticed that the thing started vibrating it. So this time, he grabbed it really quickly, and as soon as he touched it, again, he was in this meadow with flowers and a light breeze, the sun hitting on him. It looked like he was in the middle of the woods in a very, very beautiful place. And quickly he put in his backpack and let go, and poof, the second he let go of it, he was back in that chamber. He closed the backpack and got out of there quickly and went back to bed. The next morning he said, Miles, which one was the one? Miles was the one that was digging. So he said, Miles, I have it. I have it and I want to show it to you. All right, let's see this. And so he opened his backpack, but he didn't touch it. And the thing was like slightly vibrating, but Miles was so excited that he was like, oh, I want to see what it's all about. And he grabbed it real quick. And poof, suddenly he was transported in the middle of a river. He had water up to his knees. And he got super scared and let go of the thing. And poof, he was back at school with his pants all wet. What's going on here? What is this? Were you transported to the meadow with the flowers and the wind too? Isn't that great? Wait, why are your pants wet? Did you pee yourself? No, meadow. I was transported into a river. I almost drowned. He was a little bit dramatic. He never drowned. It was like not a raging river. It was just water up to his knees. They thought, maybe this thing is transporting us to another world or to another time. And when we move to the different places of that time. So there may have been a river in here in the past or in the future. And where I was under my house, perhaps there was a meadow. Maybe we should move somewhere else. Did you get to see where the river was and where the shore was? Yes, the shore was right in front of me. All right, right in front of us is the basketball court of the school. But if we keep going, we have the place that sells tires. Maybe we should get out of the street, go to the place that sells tires for cars, and try it there. Yes, yes, that should definitely be out of the river. But how do we do this? Do you think we can try it both at the same time, or should one of us do it? And Loki said, I think only one of us should do it just in case there's an emergency. The other one can kick the ball out of the person that's holding it. Wait, how am I going to kick the ball out? When you touched the ball, you disappeared. Really? Wow, said Loki. All right, then. I guess I'll be the brave one. I'll try it. And so when school was over, instead of heading home, they went around the block, went to the tire sling shop, and they um, they got together and they got ready. Loki was a little scared because he didn't know what he was about to find, um, but he decided to give it a try. And he touched it, and poof, he found this super cool place. It was like a place where he could walk, like like a path, and it was so beautiful and full of flowers. And he thought, well, I'm perfectly safe here. The river is behind me, everything looks beautiful, and there's a path. I might as well go explore. He didn't realize what he was doing. As soon as he would let go of the ball, he would show up back in his world, but somewhere else, and he would be separated from his friend Miles, which was there waiting for him as he disappeared. Nevertheless, he started walking, and after a few minutes of walking, he found something that looked like a very amazing, beautiful castle. And so he decided to go explore. But when he saw that the castle had people on it, he was a little concerned that they would see him and perhaps they could hurt him or do something bad to him. So he decided to let go of the ball. And boom, he was in the middle of a street. A bus came right next to him. Boom, a car came close to him, knocking the horn and stopped right next to him. He was so scared. He thought, oh wow, I should never do this again. I was almost run over by a car. But luckily he survived and he went back to his friend who was waiting for him at the tire shop. And his friend was like, Loki, what are you doing? Where have you been? Well, and he told them a story about the path and the castle. And they decided that this was worth exploring. But not today because their parents would find out that they hadn't been back from school in time. So they had to rush. So they run back to school. And the next day, they faked that they were feeling so sick and they needed to go rest. And instead of going rest, they escaped the school. And they went to the street where he had been where he appeared again, but instead of standing up on the middle of the street, they stood up on the sidewalk. And this time, Loki said, "Okay, I think I should be the one to try it this time. You took the risk last time. I mean, Miles said that. You took the risk last time. This time, it'll be my turn." And so, Miles took a deep breath and, without a second thought, grabbed the ball real hard and poof! He was seeing the most beautiful castle with golden incrustations and people in robes that seemed very nice. He didn't understand why Loki was worried about them. So he started walking, and as soon as he approached someone, that someone said, "Machbarach lechadore," and Miles said, "What? Machbarach lechadore?" And Miles said, "I'm sorry, I don't speak your language." "Albudechtas," said that person, and he grabbed something from his pocket and put it in Miles' ear. And the person said, "Who are you, little boy?" But his lips were moving differently. "What is this?" said Miles. "Oh, that's an international translator. We speak different languages, so this will help us communicate." "Whoa, this is cool. We don't have any of this in my world." "Oh, I see. You found one of the transporter balls. Welcome to our world. Did you figure out how to use it yet?" "Well, yes. I grabbed the thing and it show up here." Oh, there's much more to that, said the man on the robe. Let me show you. And he pushed the ball in a few places and it started lighting up. And he said, okay, you can let go of the ball now. But if I let go, I'll go away. Don't worry, I've activated the transporter station. You will stay here. And so he put the ball on the ground, and the ball stopped vibrating, and he was still there. And then he got scared. How am I going to get back home? Oh, don't worry. As soon as you come here, you grab the ball, and you push this sequence, boop, 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 in these three places exactly. And you will go back home. Let me try this. All right, said the man. And he grabbed the ball, and he pushed, boop, 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 poof. He was back at the side of the road with his friend Loki. Loki, this is incredible. I have to tell you, this is not just a ball. It's a transpond something, something. It's a I don't know. And I have blah blah. And Loki was like, wait, what are you saying? Because now he was speaking a different language. Miles sounded like, and so Miles took off the translator from his ear and was like, whoa, this thing also works weird. You were speaking weird, said Loki. No, no, this is an international translator or something like that. The man in the row gave it to me and he showed me how to use this. And there's a castle and you have to come and see. Oh, wait, calm down. Explain to me on the way home. And so they went back home and he explained everything and they were so excited. And also, they had proof, they had evidence, they had brought back a piece of technology. What he didn't know was that that was forbidden. And so everybody in the other timeline was a little worried. But they knew that the kids would come back. And they were hoping that they would bring that piece of technology with them. And sure enough, the next day they did. And so they explained to them that this was a civilization from 300,000 years in the future, where humanity was living in peace and they had tons of technology that would seem like magic to humans of our age, our time. And they offered that they could show them a lot of things that they could bring back home as long as they took the oath. And they said, okay, well, what's the oath? The oath is that you have to promise that if we ask you not to say something, keep it a secret, you must keep it a secret forever. And that you cannot take any technology from us. The translator was an accident, but you got it back here and you didn't show it to anybody, so it's safe. But you cannot take any technology or anything or any animal, any plant from here. And if we ask you to keep something a secret, you cannot tell anybody. And so they decided to take the oath. Oh, by this time, they had already learned how to use this um, transportation device so that both could go there at the same time. And so sometimes they would skip school and go to this other world 300,000 years in the future, where they would learn about the most amazing things. Some were kept secret, some were told that they could share with us. Most things were about spirituality, were about how to be a better person, how to transform fear into courage, how to transform um, lower energies into beautiful things, and how to always aim to be a happier person. And they understood that humans in our time are plagued by a lot of bad things, and so it's not easy to always be happy. But they told them a lot of secrets as to how to be happy. And they told them, when you're older, you will write a book and tell everybody about the secrets. But your world is not ready yet. So you need to wait until you're 22 years old to write this book. In the meantime, after they finished teaching them these lessons, they said, you must go back and put the transporter where you found it and close the tunnel. It will be found 10,000 years in your future. We cannot disturb this time capsule. You found it by chance and it was not meant to be, in a sense, but it was meant to be just for you. So you cannot tell anybody and you have to close the tunnel and put it back. And since they had um, given their promise that they will do as they were asked in exchange for all of this new knowledge, they, after a few months of learning and making friends, they finally said goodbye, and they promised that when they went back, they would hide the transporter back in that chamber under the earth where they was originally found, and they would never be able to come back. And Loki was a little sad because he really liked that place, but they told him, "Don't worry, time is an illusion. It's not time that separates us. It's the illusion that you are on a separate path, but we're not. It's simply a path of discovery. And the more you learn about yourself and the more you learn about who you truly are, the closer you will be to us. In fact, I will leave you with a little secret that you cannot tell anybody," said the old wise man to Miles. "Miles, this is the truth as I know it. I am you and you